What we're going to explore isn't about forcing yourself to feel different or pretending problems don't exist. It's not about faking positivity or fighting every bad thought you have. The real way to stop being affected by things or people goes much deeper than that. Most people miss it because they look for solutions outside themselves, not realizing that true change can only come from within. Have you ever noticed how some people stay calm no matter what happens? They handle crises and uncertainties without falling apart, while others seem to be on the edge, overwhelmed by even small problems. You might wonder if it's just luck or personality, or if there's some secret to mastering their emotions. The mistake many people make is thinking life just happens to us, and our emotions are just a natural response to events. But that's not the case. Everything we feel and experience is shaped by how we see the world, our long-held beliefs and emotions we haven't managed to control. It's like wearing colored glasses that tint everything we see. If these glasses are clouded by fear, resentment, or guilt, then the world seems to mirror those feelings, not because life is unfair, but because we can't see beyond our own internal filters. Today, we delve deep into the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, which teaches us not just to survive, but to thrive by transforming our internal landscapes. This philosophy doesn't just offer cold comfort or simple platitudes. It provides a robust framework for personal development that stood the test of centuries. As we explore these transformative principles, I invite you to join me on this journey. If you find value in what we're discussing, a simple free favor you can do to support this channel is to hit the subscribe button. And I encourage you not to skip any part of this video, as every segment builds on the last to offer you a comprehensive guide to mastering your internal world. So buckle up and let's unlock the door to a more resilient, more stoic you, where external chaos no longer dictates your peace. Beyond being a spectator in your life. You know that feeling when everything seems to be going wrong, and you feel like life is just happening to you? It's a common misconception that we're just passive players in our own lives, reacting to whatever the world throws at us. But here's a Stoic twist on that. The idea that external events have direct control over our emotions and well-being is not only misleading, but can also keep us trapped in a cycle of reaction and victimhood. The Stoic philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius, taught us something profound about this. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he meant was that our interpretation of events, not the events themselves, determines our feelings and reactions. This concept is echoed in modern psychology, where Carl Jung pointed out, "It is not what happens to us that affects our behavior, but our response to what happens." This misconception that life is something that just happens to us can lead us to feel helpless and out of control. It's easy to believe that our happiness is in the hands of fate, other people, or the randomness of the universe. But, in reality, every moment offers a choice, how to interpret and respond to different circumstances. When you start seeing life this way, you recognize that you are not just a leaf blown around by the wind of fate, but a person with the agency to choose your path. The Stoic approach teaches us to focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, emotions, and actions. This doesn't mean ignoring the reality of external events, but rather shifting our focus from what happens to us to how we engage with it. It's about moving from a mindset of "things are happening to me" to "I choose how I integrate this into my life." This shift is powerful. It moves you from victimhood to empowerment, from reaction to action. Shaping your own reality. Let's dive into something that might shake up the way you view the world. You are the creator of your reality. Now, this isn't about bending spoons with your mind or anything supernatural. It's about understanding how deeply your personal perceptions shape your experience of life. It's the stuff that the Stoics were all about, and it's been backed up by plenty of modern psychology. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." That's a powerful statement. It means that the quality of our lives is not determined by our circumstances, but by how we respond to those circumstances. This idea also echoes through the work of Jung, who believed that between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. He's telling us that our power lies in that choice, the choice of how we interpret and react to what happens around us. When you grasp this, you start to see that blaming external factors for your unhappiness or stress is a trap. Sure, external events are real and can be challenging, but they don't dictate your internal state unless you let them. This is where the Stoic practice of focusing on what you can control comes into play. You can't control the weather, the traffic, or what someone else says about you, but you can control your thoughts about these things. For instance, if you're stuck in traffic and you start to feel the frustration boiling up, that's a moment to pause and think, is my frustration going to clear the traffic? Nope. But it can spoil my mood and my day. This is your chance to switch gears mentally and decide not to let the traffic jam control your emotions. Maybe you turn on an audiobook or some music you love. And just like that, you're using the time productively, even enjoyably. It's all about reframing. Instead of viewing the situation as a disaster, view it as an opportunity. This doesn't mean you're faking positivity or denying the annoyance. It means you're choosing a response that enhances your life instead of one that diminishes it. This ability to reframe situations is not just a neat mental trick. It's a fundamental shift in living more consciously and more in tune with your values. By embracing this perspective, you don't just react instinctively. Instead, you respond thoughtfully, turning potential stresses into opportunities for patience, growth, or even joy. This is the essence of creating your reality. You cultivate a state of inner tranquility that external circumstances can't easily disturb, embodying another core Stoic principle. Peace comes not from the absence of trouble, but from your ability to deal with it effectively. Reclaiming your life's power. Now let's talk about taking back control. This isn't about seizing power in a traditional sense. It's about reclaiming your internal power. The Stoics had a lot to say about this. They believed that true empowerment comes from mastering your own responses. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, advised, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." This simple idea is about introducing a pause between experience and reaction, giving you the chance to choose rather than just react. It's a fundamental step in taking control of not just your emotions, but your whole life. When we talk about empowerment, often what we're really talking about is self-mastery. Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." This idea is at the heart of empowerment. It suggests that your past and your circumstances don't define you. What defines you are the choices you make right now. This is a liberating concept because it means no matter your situation, you always have the power to choose your path forward. Taking back control starts with recognizing that you have this power. It's easy to feel like life is something that just happens to us. When something goes wrong, it's tempting to throw up our hands and say, "I can't do anything about this." But the Stoic approach challenges us to look again. Even in the direst circumstances, while we might not be able to control the situation itself, we can control our perspective on it. For example, if you lose your job, you can view it as a catastrophe, or you can see it as an opportunity to pursue a path closer to your true passions, or to reevaluate what really matters in your career. This doesn't mean ignoring the difficulties or the emotional impact of such an event. Instead, it means consciously choosing a viewpoint that empowers you rather than one that drags you down. This process of taking back control is also about understanding and setting your boundaries. It's about recognizing where you end and someone else begins. Real strength comes from within, from deciding how you will let events and others' actions affect you. Empowerment also means practicing resilience. Resilience isn't about bouncing back immediately or not feeling the impact of life's challenges. Rather, it's about how you carry forward, how you use what happens to you to strengthen your character and refine your responses. Every challenge, every obstacle, thus becomes a stepping stone to a more empowered self. Stoic practices for everyday challenges. Getting practical with these concepts is where the real transformation happens, and it's easier than you might think. Let's break down how you can apply these Stoic principles and psychological insights into your everyday life. The first step is all about awareness. Before you can change your reactions, you need to be aware of them. It's like what Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." So, start by paying attention to your typical reactions to stress, irritation, or conflict. Do you lash out, withdraw, get anxious? Just noticing these patterns is the first step toward gaining control over them. Once you're aware of these patterns, the next step is to introduce that Stoic pause. When you feel a strong emotion coming on, whether it's anger, frustration, or fear, take a moment to just breathe. This pause gives you the space to choose your response rather than just falling into habitual reactions. During this pause, ask yourself, what's really going on here? Is my reaction based on the facts of the situation, or is it being colored by my past experiences, fears, or assumptions? Now comes the part where you can start to shift your perspective. This is about questioning the stories you tell yourself about what's happening. For instance, if you're upset because a friend cancelled plans last minute, instead of thinking, "They don't respect my time," you might consider other possibilities. Maybe they had a family emergency or are simply overwhelmed. This doesn't excuse the behavior, but it helps you approach it with a calmer, more balanced mindset. Then, you can decide how to respond in a way that aligns with your values and what you're trying to cultivate in your life. Maybe that means addressing the issue directly with your friend in a calm, constructive way, rather than letting it fester or reacting angrily. This choice to respond rather than react is a powerful expression of control and personal agency. To deepen this practice, it can be helpful to reflect at the end of each day. Think back over the moments when you felt emotional and consider how you handled them. Ask yourself, did I react out of habit, or did I pause and choose my response? What could I do differently next time? This kind of reflection isn't about beating yourself up for getting it wrong. It's about learning and preparing for the next challenge. Implementing these steps consistently helps you build a kind of mental and emotional muscle. Just like physical exercise, the more you practice these steps, the stronger and more automatic they become. Over time, you'll find that you're not just reacting to life's ups and downs. You're responding with thoughtfulness, resilience, and a deeper sense of peace. Navigating emotional storms. Let's picture our emotions like a storm inside us. Imagine you're standing on a beach, watching as dark clouds gather and the wind starts to pick up. The waves grow larger, crashing onto the shore with increasing ferocity. This storm isn't just a weather event. It represents the turbulent emotions we often experience: anger, fear, sadness. Like a physical storm, these emotions can seem overwhelming, powerful, and uncontrollable. The Stoics, however, give us a valuable tool for dealing with our internal storms. They teach us about the power of perception, how the things we cannot control shouldn't be allowed to disturb our inner peace. Imagine now that you have a shelter on this beach, a place where you can observe the storm safely from a distance. From this shelter, the storm is still powerful, but it can't touch you. You're protected, not because you stopped the storm, but because you changed your position relative to it. This is what it's like when we step back from our emotions. We can observe them, acknowledge their power, but not let them sweep us away. Carl Jung also touched on this when he discussed the importance of stepping back to observe our own psyche. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This means that enlightenment, or inner peace, doesn't come from ignoring our darker emotions, but rather from understanding them, acknowledging them, and integrating them into our whole self without letting them dominate us. Now, how can we apply this the next time we're caught in an emotional storm? When you feel your emotions starting to escalate, take a mental step back. Picture yourself entering that shelter where you can watch the storm without getting wet. From this place of safety, ask yourself what the emotions are telling you. What triggered them? Are they a proportionate response to the situation, or are they intensified by past hurts or fears? By using this visual imagery of a storm, we not only understand our emotions better, but also empower ourselves to deal with them more effectively. We acknowledge that while we can't control when or how our emotional storms hit, we can control how we respond to them. We can choose to watch from our shelter, learning from the storm, but not getting lost in it. This shift doesn't happen overnight. Like any skill, it requires practice. But each time we choose to observe rather than react, we strengthen our ability to maintain calm in any storm. This is the true resilience and freedom that Stoicism offers, a peace that depends not on external conditions, but on our internal strength. From reaction to creation. Transformation is all about changing the narrative, shifting the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and how the world works. This isn't about denying reality or pretending that problems don't exist. It's about reframing our experiences in a way that empowers us rather than diminishes us. Let's consider how Stoicism approaches this concept. The Stoics teach us that while we may not have control over external events, we have complete control over how we interpret them. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the cornerstone of transforming your narrative. It's about seeing challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and learning. Carl Jung also offers a profound insight into the transformative power of changing our narrative. He suggested, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. In this sense, every interaction and experience gives us a chance to rewrite our story. When we encounter a challenge, we can ask ourselves, what can this teach me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? This shift in questioning is powerful. It changes the narrative from one of victimhood to one of agency and growth. Think about a time when you faced a significant setback. Maybe you lost a job or a relationship ended. In those moments, it's easy to let a narrative of failure take hold. But what if you rewrote that story? What if, instead of seeing it as a failure, you viewed it as a pivotal moment that set you on a new, perhaps more fulfilling path? This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about actively choosing a narrative that aligns with your values and aspirations. Moreover, changing your narrative often involves confronting and rewriting deeply ingrained beliefs about yourself. Jung also spoke about the shadows of our personality, the parts of ourselves that we deny or ignore. He argued that acknowledging and integrating these shadows is essential for transformation. This process, known as shadow work, involves facing the parts of ourselves we're not proud of or are scared of. By doing so, we can change the narrative from one where we are controlled by our hidden fears and impulses to one where we are aware and in control of them. To practice this, start by observing your reactions to difficult situations and the stories you tell yourself about them. Are these stories helping you grow, or are they holding you back? Are they based on old patterns or current realities? As you become more aware of these narratives, you can start to actively rewrite them. For example, instead of thinking, "I always mess things up," you could tell yourself, "I sometimes make mistakes, but I always learn from them." This small shift can dramatically change how you feel and act in your life. As we wrap up today's discussion, remember that a new reality awaits you, a reality where you are not buffeted by external events, but where you navigate through them with grace and wisdom. This isn't just an ideal, it's a tangible state of being that you can achieve through the Stoic practice of self-awareness, self-control, and the courage to confront your inner landscape. Remember, as the Stoics believed, the only real possession you truly have is your internal state. Everything else can change at a moment's notice. Carl Jung similarly pointed us towards the vast realms of our inner selves, where all transformation begins. He famously said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." This is a call to face our challenges, not with resistance, but with openness and a willingness to grow. By changing how you perceive and interact with the world, you don't just change your reality, you transform it. So, step boldly into this new reality. Let the insights from today soak in and start applying them. Experiment with your responses, play with your perceptions, and observe how much control you actually have over your experiences. It's an empowering and enlightening journey that not only changes how you interact with the world, but fundamentally alters what you attract into your life. Thanks for spending this time with me today. I encourage you to carry these thoughts with you, to let them percolate through your day-to-day life. And as you do, watch as your new reality begins to unfold, one where you are the master of your own inner state, capable of weathering any storm with tranquility and strength. Your new reality awaits, and it's one of peace, empowerment, and profound transformation.